So why does it do like this?
Because
So
because it is inside the main method.
no, it is not inside the main method. Let me explain. Today we will discuss the final variable. What is final variable in here? This class has two variables. Forget
Yeah.
about these things at present. I have only one. So in this specific variable, you have variable a equals 10. And again you put a equals 20. So this variable when you have defined plus a equals 10 and you are defining again, this value is overwritten by the next value. Yes.
Yeah.
In this case what happens is always does it like this. Now you define something, you say that int my name equal to, not int, sorry, static string my name equals Vinay. Yes, you have defined it in here in one of the class. You want your name to be displayed as Vinay and you are printing in here my name. Yes, am I right? So it
Yeah.
will print. After few days somebody comes and they don't know and they all of a sudden they change string my name equals Brijesh. And what it will do? It will replace the previous string, overwrite, and it will print. Print means it will replace your variable with another variable. If it happens like this, sometimes your data changes, yes, and your code will fail, your test case will fail. What happens? You want to do 2 plus 2 equal 4. Yes, let's define a very good example. You have another variable static int b equals 30. Yes, and here, not now, I'm just using system. You put a plus b. You know the answer, it will be 40. Yes,
Yeah.
and in your expected result in your test cases, you define that when you execute this test case, your expected result is this much. So in this case, you will say your expected result would be 40. Somebody comes and that replaces one of the variables. Yes, and execute it. Nobody knows it what is happening there. Yes,
Yeah.
and you gave your expected result is 40, but the result is coming as 50. Somebody will say, okay, why it is coming 50? So they will report it as a bug straight away. It is the simple example, and that's why you say that wow. But in complex scenario, in actual testing, you have given your expected result. Somebody changed one of the variables, and because of that, the result is totally different. And when it happens, they will raise at a bug. Yes, and this will create, if there might not be a bug, or that will create so much extra work, and because the variable has been changed. So you don't want this kind of things to happen in your code. Yes,
Yeah.
you don't want, you want a equals 10 and b equals to 30. You want this to be. Yes, so what you do, you define a word called final. Final is a keyword. Okay, before any variable, okay, you put a final keyword.
Yeah.
Whenever,
Just a question. Before writing this final, we mentioned like static integer int a equal to 10, static int b is equal to 30, right?
yeah,
And for example, we are writing here a is equal to 20.
yes,
Yeah. So we are replacing this one. So what happens if somebody deletes these two? So it's only a is equal to 20. Then it will be, and it will be only a. So only 20 will be right.
Can you ask your
Okay.
question again? Let me understand.
So now before final it was
Static.
um,
Static.
static int a is equal to 10.
Yes.
Just imagine only static int a is equal to 10, and we are overwriting it as a is equal to 20.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
system out dot print dot a, then output will be 20.
Yes.
Okay, I understood that. So what happens if we delete these two? I mean, if we delete this whole a is equal to 10.
That means you are declaring the variable again. So here I have you. So if you are putting, then you put int a. So this is totally independent variable. Okay. It has nothing to do. So as for example, if you delete this variable, then means you are not declaring, you are declaring your variable here only. Yes.
Okay.
So in this case, I understood your question, and that's why. See, if you are declaring a variable here, yes,
Mhm.
something you'll do like this, okay, nothing else. When you do int a, you don't need int again here because I have deleted b, and that's why it is giving an error. Okay, it is saying put a static int. Okay, okay. Now b is not there, so you put static. Yes. Now you are using these variables. Yes, I don't need this one at present. You say okay. I have not declare it, but I have not defined any value to these variables. Yes.
Yeah.
So in this case, what happens if somebody deletes it as a variable, and you are using those variables? In that case, you will have the compile time error if somebody deletes it. Yes.
Okay.
Straight away you have the compile time error, and you say declare this variable. See, create local variable a, create local variable b. So if you have some variable declare somewhere, and as soon as you are using somewhere, and someone comes and deletes your variable, straight away you will have the compile time error.
Yeah.
And when you have the compile time error, you are unable to execute your code. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's come back to the final keyword, final variable. Now you want your code to be executed on a website. Yes.
Yeah.
And that website is google.com. Yes. So this is not the correct way, but I am just showing you. String my web equals www.google.com. You want this code to be executed on this specific website. All your testing should be done on the specific link URL. Yes,
Yeah.
instead of this is URL. All of a sudden somebody comes and changes. So let me print it out so you can understand. I'm using print statement just to explain. In actual life, you will not use this much. Okay, so it will say just change it to static. Yes, your code should be executed in google.com, but somebody came and changed this somewhere else. That person doesn't know, and he has created the same variable with the same name in a different method or somewhere else as www.yahoo.com. Yes.
Yeah.
So what happens in this case? Your variable has been overwritten. You don't want this to happen. Yes.
Yeah.
So what you define, you put that variable as final.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes. As soon as you put variable final, what happens? Nobody else can replace this one. As soon as they try to replace it, they will get an error. This is a final keyword. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you use final, it says that you are not declare it, yeah. So static, yeah. So final static string web. This is a final, so this can't be changed. As soon as somebody tries to do it, my web equals something, it will throw an error. What is a remove final modifier of my web? Yes. Why it is saying the final field final variable dot my web cannot be reassigned. You have assigned that value to this variable. This is your variable, and you have assigned this value. This value is this one. Now you are trying to assign the same value, different value to the same variable. This can't happen when you declare this one as final. Understood?
Yep.
And why we need to do it? Even though I have explained you, I say when you work as an automation engineer, in one
Mhm.
of the class you will not have like this. You will have a class called constants. Okay, or utils, you can say constants. You have a class name constants. In this, what you will say, final static base URL is this one. Final web driver, okay, equals something. Okay, syntax error base URL variable. Yes, that's fine, not to worry. Okay, you have this one there, so and so something. Okay, so and so in here. So what happens in this case? When you declare this one in this specific class, but you are not using it because you don't have any main method in here. Okay,
Mhm.
you are having just public class constants. In that constants you have this one. You can have n number of. So let me show you some code if I have. Why I'm clicking in here? All automation doesn't have, selenium won't have. Okay, here you will definitely have. So here I have so many projects in here. Can you see?
Yep.
They are all BDD, so it won't have. Here I hybrid is there. Yes, application from hybrid. So in this SRC folder in utility, I have a class called constant. Yes.
Yep.
And see what I did in here. Do I have any main method? No.
No.
Do I have anything in here? No. See, I have given exactly the same thing. Yes.
Yep.
I have defined wipe even though if I delete, let me copy few things. Control C. And I'm pasting it here. Okay. Yes. So when I have the specific class, these methods are required. Okay. Even if I delete this Final, not final, this public keyword, it makes no difference. Can you see any difference?
No,
Why?
because we are using constants.
No. The public keyword, I have used it so I can access this class globally. This class does not have anything in here. Can you see where is it opened? Okay, here, yes. No, where is it? Where did I open? Oh yeah, notepad.
Yeah.
So here I have put everything public, 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 yes.
Okay, we didn't declare.
Even though even if I put as private, I can still access it during the folder, but I cannot access it throughout the whole project, yes. So in this package, I might have n number of folder or packages, yes,
Mhm.
and that's why I have used this public keyword. If I delete the public keyword, it does not make any difference here, okay? You will not see any difference in here. You will see the problem when you try to access it. When I'm training you, somebody trains, they don't explain this much even, okay? So it don't have anything. You want to define something else, static, final, string, my city, yes, and you say London, yes. Can you see? No, static, final, string, my place of birth, India, yes. It has no difference at present with the public or no public. When you have n number of packages in here, when you try to access it, those rules I have explained you, those rules will apply. Private, public, protected, yes. So you can define, but I have used it public because I want to access it everywhere. There should not be any restriction. I have used this final keyword in here because nobody in any other class can change this one. So I have this another URL in here, yes. So I want to access this URL, yes. This URL is there, yes. So delete it and you put URL. URL. It might be capital URL, yes. Yes. So it will say create constant variable, local variable. So if somebody tries to do it, okay, string URL and URL you define it. String URL. There is a whole method there how you can access it method in. Yes, you need to create an object. Now it is saying this URL is there, initialize it so you can define it. Now I have put it there, yes, something like this. So it will print Brijesh in here. It's a spelling error, but if somebody does like this in your project, they cannot play with this one. If you define with this a final and you declare as a final keyword, you can't access it. This is the way. So if you want to restrict it in this class, how can we restrict? Let's learn it. Int a equals 20. Yes.
Yeah.
And somebody comes and say a equals 30. And you put sys out a. Now I am replacing it. Yes. It
Yeah.
is saying put static. Yes, and the error will go. I'm I don't know why I forget. Yes, 30. Now you don't want this value to be replaced, so you just put final keyword. That's it. Yes. So it says as soon as you put remove final modifier. So whenever you are declaring any fixed value, this value should not be changed. In that case, you are going to use final in front of everything. Okay?
Yeah.
Final in front of everything. There is an error in here because intentionally error there. Yeah. So yes, for example, there are so many variables in here. Yes, this variable is called primitive data types. Okay, so we here is their int. So you put final. If you are using, see, I am changing it here age. Yes. So what's a remove final? So because I'm reusing it in here age plus 5 years, so that's why it is saying you can't do it. Yes. So if you put it final, nobody else can change. So if I show you the same project which I have done it in here, so constants are there. Yes, I have
Yeah.
defined all the constants. Don't need to worry about this. Go. These constants I'm going to use in one of the classes in here. Actions. See. So what I have done it in here, you can say. Yes. There is a method there, and I'm using those constants I have defined in a different. So nobody can s email. Yes. So I have defined this declare, and from there, constant dot call underscore email. So I'm getting constant value. So constant dot. Yes. So I'm getting constant. So if I want to replace it somewhere in here, it won't allow me to replace this value. Question?
When do we use that constants? It's only for that.
Constant means you have a constant value which does not change. Yes. That time you use this constant. Any value which is constant to you, which is not going to change, that is all constant. Yes. So in this class I have defined some value. I don't want this value to be changed. It remains constants, and that's why I named the class name as constants. Yes. Or you can say constant variable or something else, you can use it.
Yeah. And and